This is the Inferno Podcast. It's the official podcast of UAB Athletics. Blazer fans, this is the place every week for an inside look into UAB Athletics. This episode is brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Welcome into this week's Inferno Pod. Scott Griffin, your host here. This is the 20th episode of the year so far as we're winding down, at least for the athletic year here at UAB, but we'll continue the podcast, obviously, through the summer and different things like that. Of course, it's always presented by the great folks at Pearl River Resort. Today's rundown brought to you by Legacy Credit Union, the official credit union of UAB Athletics. We're talking golf. It's obviously great golf weather. We've got a lot of majors happening as far as what's going on in for pro golf and different things. So golf is kind of heightened at the antenna level. And UAB's men's golf was heightened this year with Charlie Hoyle in his second year. They finished next to last in his first year as he came in very late. This year, a fifth-place finish in the conference. So a vast improvement. We'll talk to him coming up a little bit later. Also, one of his star golfers, Erik, who comes in, a one-year guy, transfer they get in, plays out of his mind, and makes the NCAA individual portion of the postseason. So we'll talk to both of those gentlemen about the year and what they've got to look forward to. Also, UAB baseball is in the American Conference Tournament that begins later on this week, and that'll be something to keep an eye on as they had an incredible year, and we all know the story, how they were picked to finish last in the tournament in the preseason. And then, of course, softball as well earns all Gulf region honors and different things for some of the things that they have accomplished this year. So you've got a terrific deal there with Ashlyn Shira getting that honor, as she is really, really a good player. So congratulations on what was overall a difficult year overall with record and different things, but she certainly shone there for the Lady Blazers. So we got all that to talk about. Don't forget to like and subscribe on the social media, however you get the podcast, and be sure you tell a friend about it as well. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more of the Inferno Pod. Hang on. Welcome back to the Blazer of the Week, brought to you by Blazers Mobile. Scott Griffin here with our Inferno Pod, and Erik, our fantastic golfer who has made the NCAA regionals as an individual, which is a unique thing. We'll talk about that a little bit. But first of all, congratulations. You come here from USC Aiken for a one-year run, and I would say you've made it count so far.
Yes, sir. It's been fun. Obviously, a little bit of a new experience for me. New coaches, new teammates. New area with Birmingham and all. But I've had a great time so far, and really delighted that I came here for a year.
So, kind of go into that, because in your game that you're playing golf, there's got to be relaxation. There's got to be focus. It's a lot of mental. Mm-hmm. All sports is mental, but maybe more so with golf. So with a new surrounding new team and a one-time shot, how did you try to navigate that? Or was it easier here? Or did your teammates or coach make it easier? Or?
Yeah, I think in the beginning it's always hard, but I feel like our coaches did a good job of welcoming me, trying to make sure I got everything I need, and I think my teammates too. They were very welcoming, brought me into the group pretty quick, and I'm really good friends with all of the guys too. So I couldn't really ask for a better group. So all that together made it fairly easy for me.
It's kind of hard when you've got the one shot left, and I know you have aspirations to keep playing golf. But as far as your collegiate career, did it go about as good as you can, and all that kind of thing as you look back?
I mean, It went well. I played some good golf over the year, but as a golfer, you feel like you can always do better.
Yeah.
Like you're never really too satisfied, and I think you need to have that mindset to as a golfer, because there's always some shots out there that you think you could have done a little bit differently. But overall, it's been a good year. Been playing well, so hopefully I can continue doing that.
Why is that the perspective? Because I know what you're saying, but whether you're your level or a guy that's scoring 100, if the guy scored 100 hits a 90, he's going to go, man, I could have had 85.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a 65, God, I was so close to a 63. Why is that? What's your philosophy on that?
Because I feel like there are shots out there that you could have done
There's
better. There's always shot you could have done better. I feel like you could have made another 7-footer or something if you missed a 7-footer. Like you feel like you should make all of those putts, but you don't. Not even the pros do that. So, but I don't know. It's kind of weird because you always think you can do better, hit better golf shots. If you hit in the water, you feel like, why did I hit in the water? If I hit on the fairway, I would save maybe a shot or two there. So you always go back throughout the round and thinking, if I did that, I could have shot a little bit lower. But it's the same for everyone.
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy sport when you bring that up because, in bowling, random sport, you can be perfect. You can have a 300. If you're a quarterback, you can go 14 for 14. Or a pitcher can throw a no-hitter. But in golf, there's no perfection.
Nope.
And that can be maddening.
Yes. And that sometimes can make people go nuts sometimes, I think. But, golf is not a sport of perfection. It's a sport about misses, right? That's what everyone tells you. And that's what coaches tells you. Leave it in a good spot if you don't hit a good shot, and try to make it easy for yourself. But it's a game of misses for sure, and it's not about perfection at all.
Yeah, and minimizing the misses.
Yes,
sounds like right.
Yes,
so
that's great.
So what went right for you, without getting so technical that you would be speaking over our head? What do you think went right, and why the incredible year that you had to make the NCAA individuals? I
think my ball striking, especially with the driver, I think I hit it pretty straight from the tee box. The stats show that too. I almost gained strokes on the field every time. Every round, every competitive round from the tee. So I was very solid from the tee. Kept the ball in play. I was pretty solid with the approaches too. So I think that's kind of stood me out from the rest a little bit throughout the year. And obviously the coaches, when I got here first on campus in fall, I was kind of lost because I didn't really play that well over the summer, and I didn't really have my best stuff in the beginning of the qualifying rounds that we do, which means we compete who gets to play basically. But coach helped me a lot with a few stuff throughout the beginning of the fall, and it started really paying off at the end of the fall. So pretty much, yeah. Yeah,
so the fall kind of set up.
Yes, sir.
Spring, interestingly. How did you carry it over through winter? Just practice?
I went back to Sweden over the winter, actually. So it was, Sweden is not the warmest weather, especially over the winter. So I did some practicing outside, even though it was snow outside. Trying to be in a good spot for the spring. I did everything I could, to be in good shape, and I got back. Then we had 2 weeks before our first tournament started, so I worked hard there, and were able to win the first tournament of the year. So
just hard work, sounds like. Nothing special.
I mean, I tried my best, and he worked out pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah, just put the work in.
Yes, sir.
That even at this sport, it sounds fantastic. So, anything not going your way this year that you battled through and you go, wow, I kind of conquered that and still had a great end result?
I mean, I feel like I think I can handle adversity pretty well. Like if I not hitting a good shot, or if I had a bad run of a few holes, make some bogeys, I feel like I always bounce back in a fairly good way. So I just trying to stay present and just trying to take one shot at a time it's probably been a good thing for me.
Yeah.
To answer your question, I'm not 100% sure, but yeah.
Yeah. So you've got confidence now. You're playing, I would assume, some of your best golf of your life now to get where you are.
Yes, sir.
So what is the plan now as you go through the college career ends, and give us a look into what that's going to look like, or what you would like for it to look like.
So obviously I'm going to play the tournament here next week. If I play good, I might even advance to nationals. So I hope I play well. Then I'm going to go back to Sweden over the summer. I'm going to keep playing golf. I might stay as amateur over the summer. I'm not really sure if I'm going to start playing pro, or I'm just going to keep playing amateur tournaments over the summer and then start playing professionally through the 2027 year.
What would make you not do that?
What's
your thought process? What would make you stay amateur, not immediately turn pro?
I mean, there are some good amateur tournaments over the summer that I really want to play.
Okay.
But, the pro season where I would start playing, they're literally in the middle of the season, right? So I would just jump in the middle of the season, and all these people got all these points already to advance to the next stage. I'm already falling behind there. So I just feel like it might be a good idea just to start off from scratch in 2027.
Yeah.
I see what I do. I really haven't made my decision yet.
But the ultimate goal is professional,
Yes, sir.
as
Yes,
far
sir.
as you can take it.
Yes, sir.
What tour are we talking about you would probably start on?
So I would probably start in Scandinavia. They have this called the Nordic Tour. So the Nordic Tour, so top 5 players there plays on the Challenge Tour, the Hotel Planet Tour, which is the under tour for the Deep World Tour, which is a big tour in Europe, right? It's basically the PGA Tour for Europe, you can say. So that's where I would start. It's a long path, though. I mean, it can take a few years to get up there, or even if I will get up there, you never know because there's so many good players. But that's the path that would take.
Erik Olin, our guest here for a couple of minutes on the Inferno Pod. Is there a plan B? You're one of those guys that doesn't believe in a plan B because then you've got to make your plan succeed, or do you like to have a plan B if pro golf doesn't work out and everything?
I mean,
you went to school for a reason,
yes.
obviously.
So obviously I wanted to work out, and that's going to be my main goal and focus now. But I'm taking a master's, so I will actually take my master's over the summer as well. So I got to finish my master's up in the summer. So I will have that all done, which is nice. And then I'm going to, trying to focus on golf. And if it doesn't work out, I always got my master's degree to fall back on, which is always nice. And yeah, I just hope everything turns out for me. Master's
in what? Yeah.
So I did a business finance at my old institution, a bachelor. And then I did actually 2 certificates this 2 semesters. So it was a Foundations of Business, it was called. The other one was called Digital Marketing. So now I'm actually basing a research paper over the summer so I can get my master's degree.
Good for you.
Yes, sir.
Accomplishing things on and off.
Yes, sir.
The true student athlete.
Yes,
We'd like
sir.
to see that,
Yes,
for sure. So anything else to announce or talk about, or just the intense focus on finishing strong and then seeing what you're going to do in the summer?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's my focus right now.
That's good stuff. Well, we appreciate you hanging
Thank you.
out with us, and congratulations on, so many people want to finish their career in a strong fashion, and that's about as good as you could do, making the NCAA individuals and finishing strong, and then having the aspirations for golf. So we wish you best luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank
Erik Olin, again, the senior who made the NCAA individuals here for the UAB Blazers. We'll take a break, come back with more on the Inferno Pod.
The if in life, it's a world of possibilities. If you go for a night out with friends, if you can keep an eye on your money along the way, if you know you have overdraft protection with no fee transfers from savings, when you get a low balance alert, it's easier to say yes to fun. If that sounds good, try Regions Life Banking.
Stay ready for the if in life. Regions Bank, embrace the if in life.
Welcome back to the Inferno Pod. It's time for Coach's Corner now, brought to you by Viva Health and Pepsi. Charlie Hoyle, our guest. We had him on, a couple of months ago?
Yeah, a couple of months, yeah.
Beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. So let's rehash a little bit. How did the year go? I know the first year was difficult. This is your second year for folks watching. First year is kind of a wash because you started so late. You were pretty much had the team you wanted and not able to get the talent you wanted. You changed the roster. Now you finished 5th in the conference, so a major improvement.
Yeah. First year, coming in late, as you said, we had a roster of good guys. that, coming into it, they'd been recruited by the previous coach. I come in, there's maybe a little bit of, different feelings towards me. I think that's normal. But yeah, we obviously made some changes this year with the roster, with where we practice, how we operated, a lot of changes. And I think it paid off, just getting some guys, some players in that kind of had a shared vision for the program and what we expect of guys in the program. And it's paid off. We're still not a finished product as a program. We've still got some room to grow and room to improve. But as you said, fifth in the conference, in the American Conference, which is very strong this year. The 4 teams that beat us at the conference championship are all postseason teams. They're all going to they're all inside the top 65 in the country. So yeah, it was a good year, a step in the right direction, a lot of improvement, a lot of good stuff. But still, we have room to improve going forward.
So dive into, because I think it's intriguing, roster construction on what you did. Because I think people that are watching might go, well, you just go get the best golfers you can get with the lowest scores.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit more to it than that, right?
Yeah, I wish it was that simple.
Right.
I wish it was that simple.
I'm going to go get the best golfers with the lowest average.
Yeah, I think it's certainly changed a little bit in the last few years, with the transfer portal, and with things, like NIL and the amount of support, we can give players now. And so there's a lot of factors to take into account. But to me, at the end of the day, it's all about, getting the guys in that you think are extremely committed. That's a big word that I use all the time, with the team we have and with recruits is the commitment piece. Everyone wants to play good golf. Everyone wants to pick up a trophy at the end of a golf tournament. But are you willing to do the things, the 9 months before that point to get you to that point? So, there's a lot that goes into constructing a roster, but at the end of the day, it's all about finding the guys that gel with you as a coaching staff, and that are kind of willing to be coached and willing to put the work in and be committed to their craft.
And then there's the dynamic of it's still an individual sport,
right?
But you're getting judged on the team result of that individual sport, so it's different from that standpoint as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic for sure. I mean, I think the thing about the sport of golf is that there are a million ways to do it.
Right.
The way that player A and player B hit the same shot can be completely different. The way they think about the game can be completely different. So I think as a coach, you have to understand that. Now, there are some commonalities between the really, the best players in the world.
Sure.
I think they go about their business, they go about their practice in the same way in some respects. But as a coach, you have to understand that, the way you coach player A is not the same way potentially that you coach player B. And the way that they practice, the way that they get better is maybe not the same. So you have to understand that. You have to figure out guys' tendencies. And, when, like you said, we changed the roster from year 1 to year 2. I mean, we brought 6 players in this year, 6 of 9. Understanding those guys' tendencies, understanding what makes those guys tick is a huge part to us helping, and contributing to their development.
I'm curious, talking about that, have you ever done a deep dive, a conversation or research or however you would do it on Walker Cup play, Ryder Cup play, and different things? Because that is team, and we've seen some real camaraderie from European team, American team, however you want to, divide it up.
Yeah.
Have you ever studied that or done a deep dive on that, or you just kind of formulate these ideas on constructing to getting a team to gel just by experience?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think ultimately it comes down to the individuals, and getting the most out of the individuals that that's going to help the team, right? But to your point, I think the best teams oftentimes are the ones that have that camaraderie and the ones that have that special bond. And I think the team we had this year, again, 6 guys coming in, it's a completely different team. They gelled from the get-go. There was a little bit of a period of time there at the beginning where they were trying to figure things out. New town, new school, new coach, new teammates. But to their credit, they gelled. They gelled really well. We did a couple things, getting guys together in a group. But again, to their credit, they did a lot of that themselves. And I think it falls on us as a coaching staff to kind of help facilitate that. But at the end of the day, I don't think the guys have to be necessarily, best friends.
Right. Everybody would room with each other.
I don't know if you have to have that, but I think you have to have a respect. I think you have to, like we talked about before with the guys that we recruit, you have to have a shared vision, a shared goal. You have to be able to push each other and hold each other accountable. And our team did that this year, and I think that's important. You see that. You mentioned the Ryder Cup. I think the big thing that the European team has going for them is that camaraderie, and is that bond. I think it's a little bit down to the history of the Ryder Cup too, and I think for us as UAB men's golf, we have a rich history of success, and so I think we talked about that at the beginning of the year, helping the guys realize that. What they're a part of and the rich history of the program helps with that too.
Even more so with the European side to me, because the American side, well, they're all Americans, so they're all from one country, but the European, obviously, they're from different countries and playing for Europe, this broad spectrum and thought process. So that's kind of intriguing. And that would be more similar to what you're talking about for the collegiate level, right?
Yeah, I think so. You've got people from all different backgrounds. We have some Alabama guys on the team this year, but you just had Erik, Olin on from Sweden.
Who's not from Alabama.
He's not from Alabama, although, he can do a good Southern accent when he needs to. But
he can kill some barbecue.
He loves some barbecue. But, we had guys from Sweden, guys from Spain, guy from Mexico, a guy up from Michigan. So we got guys from all over the place. But again, they all want to play good golf. They all want to be on a successful golf team, be part of a good program, and that's what brings them together. And I think that's what brings Ryder Cup teams together too. They have that goal of winning, and that kind of overrides where you're from or what you know.
So before we get into Erik a little bit, since he made the individuals at the NCAAs, what do you foresee now this summer constructing this next team? What have you got to do? What are you looking for?
Yeah, I think
how it's shaping up now. I know that's a fluid situation.
It is a fluid situation, but I think we have obviously we're sad to see Erik go. Glad that we had him for the year that we've had him.
Yeah.
But obviously sad to see him go. But we have a core group coming back next year. 3 certainly of our top 5 consistent players in the lineup are coming back. Morgan Slayton from Huntsville, Alabama, he's got better and better every year since he's been here, so he'll be back. Alejandro Fierro, who was a transfer, he's coming back. Patrick Delaney, who was a fixture in our lineup this spring, and Clipper Salmon, who played a big part for us this year, is coming back, and a couple of other guys too. We have one freshman signed, Antonio Lopez Moreno. He's coming in. He's a fantastic player. And then we're gonna look to bring a couple transfers in again. I think we saw some great success this year with Erik, with Alvaro Dobro, with Alex Fierro.
Yep.
So I think we do that again this year. And obviously that market is pretty competitive. I think everyone's kind of looking for a new player with some talent and some experience, but I think what we have going for us, is the fact that we're a program on the rise. We've seen some improvement. We show that we can develop players, and I think that if we do our job and get those players in that appreciate that, I think we'll be in good shape next year.
So before we move on to Erik, so the transfer portal for golf, give us an idea of that, because we see the 4,000 for football and basketball and all this thing. Is it just as insane on the golf level?
I think
relatively speaking.
Yeah, so I think we've pushed the dates back of it this year until after the national championship. So it opens June 4th.
Okay, so we're theorizing. Right
yes, now. Yeah. So it's changed a little bit from how it has been in years past. But I think, I mean, it's a conversation that everyone's aware of. Everyone knows about. And so it's there. It's definitely something that is not lurking in the shadows. You
can't ignore it.
You can't ignore it. It's right there in front of you. And it's I think it's good in some respects. I'm not going to get into my complete thoughts of it. It's good in some respects. And it's not so good in some other respects.
Of course.
But I think we can use it to our advantage, and we're going to do that in a good way.
Absolutely. Charlie Hoyle, our guest with the UAB golf team. Let's talk about Erik Olin. So he was fantastic this year. I mean, if you want to hit on a transfer that has 1 year left, that's pretty much a blueprint of what you would want. He makes the NCAA individuals. Just talk about what you saw from him this year and why he was able to accomplish such a goal.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he's been fantastic for us as a program, and he's been fantastic for me as a coach to coach. He came in from USC Aiken, had some success there. He started, off at a junior college. That's why we got him for the extra year. And he's just developed. He's got better every single year. And then, I think he touched on it in his conversation with you. Didn't have a great summer before he came to us, but the school year that he had at USC Aiken and the season he had at USC Aiken, I could see from his scores that he was extremely consistent. He didn't win at USC Aiken, but based on what I saw from his play there and the year previous to that, I knew he was going to be a high percentage counter for us. So in our sport, we take 5 guys, and each round 4 of the 5 scores count to your team score.
It's kind of like gymnastics from that standpoint.
A little bit. Yeah. So I knew he was going to be a super high percentage counter for us. And like I said, the summer before he came, didn't have a great summer, but he came in, and I've said this, a few times, to his credit, even though he'd had some success, at the Division II level, he came in just ready to learn, and ready to be coached. And the best players that I've ever coached have kind of had that mindset. Okay, I know what I can do. I know what I've done to get me to this point.
But I don't have it all figured out.
I don't have it all figured out. Yeah. And I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to be coached. And I think that's why we've seen, him develop through the year the way we have. He touched on his ball striking. I think, the reason he's been so consistent throughout his career and this year is because he hits the ball fantastically. And I think most guys at this level hit it about the same. There's just small differences here and there that separate the average from the really great, but he is a fantastic ball striker. I mean, he hits the ball where he's looking a lot. I'm with the guys on teams that I've had, I'm kind of steering guys on the golf course, steering them away from flag sticks a little bit.
Yeah.
But I know with Erik, I can let him kind of go at some flag sticks,
because he's going to hit it where he's aiming.
He hits it where he's looking a lot.
Yeah.
He hits it where he's looking a lot, and so that helps him in that consistency piece. I think we've done a good job this year as a coaching staff of developing his short game with him and his putting, putting some processes in place with his putting and his short game that's allowed him to be more consistent in those areas. Because I think he would agree, those areas are ones that he's needed to develop. And he has, and that's why he won by 5 shots, early in the spring. And that's why he's been able to just be consistently, in the top 20 almost every event this spring and this year.
Without getting too complicated and mathematical, give us a sense of what it took for him to make the NCAA individuals, or is it a hard line? he's a top 40 in the country.
Yes.
What are the parameters here?
Yeah, so generally, if a guy is top 200 in the rankings individually, that they're kind of a shoe-in to make the NCAA regional.
Now, give us perspective on that first.
Yeah.
Because there's how many D1
golf
golf schools?
300, just over 300.
I think to people, the 200 sounds big, but
right. No, it's
not even one a team.
So the way the regionals work, there's 6 regionals with it depends on the regional, the amount of individuals, but so the amount of individuals that go to the regional championship, that's 45 individuals nationwide that go to the
nationwide.
They go to the regional championship that aren't on advancing teams.
Right.
So any teams that don't advance, the 45 players are kind of made up of those teams. So Erik's one of 45 players in the country to make an NCAA regional. So it's a pretty
very strong.
Yeah, it's a very strong accolade. It's a big deal. It's the first regional appearance for the program in a few years. And it's no surprise. I mean, to me, just like we talked about, based on his consistency of play and the way he goes about his business, he deserves to be there. He's one of the best players in the country. He's still improving. He's still developing, and I think his best golf is still ahead of him for sure.
And that's what you want. I mean, obviously, especially in college.
Yep.
Guys get better. Listen,
Mm-hmm.
You're not recreating them. You're just finding their weak spots and figuring out, that's your job as a coach, where I can tweak and help, whether it's mental or physical or whatever.
That's right. It's about, I think as a college golf coach, we wear a lot of hats. We do a lot
psychologist.
We do a lot of different things.
Right.
We do a lot of different things. What I am not is a swing coach. I know enough to help guys, and I think I've been able to help Erik a little bit this year with a couple things. But a lot of these guys have their own swing coaches. Erik does back in Sweden. But for me as a college golf coach, from a development performance standpoint, it's all about understanding these guys' tendencies. Everyone has a tendency, whether it be they tend to have the ball too far up in the stance, too far back in the stance, whatever it is. So just understanding their tendencies and constantly kind of working against those tendencies, and like I mentioned earlier, putting some processes in place so that the guys understand, how to practice and how to battle against those tendencies is how they develop, how they improve.
I think people don't understand. Again, I think the conception is for college golf coaches, all right, you guys go play. I'll be sitting over here on the.
Some guys do that. Some guys
you can't, and some days you can obviously do that and go, I'm not going to even mess with him. I'm not going to say a word to the guy, right?
Yeah, I think.
But there's sometimes where I got to go check out hole 7 because my guy's falling apart a little bit.
Yeah, I think on course is somewhat different, but I think I keep using the word development. I consider ourselves as a developmental program.
Right.
We are not necessarily going to get, the 5-star recruits out of high school and maybe even out of the portal. But what we can do just based on, the history of the program, the golf courses we have here in Birmingham, I'm biased, but our coaching staff, Coach Wedgeworth, my assistant coach, is a fantastic player. I think we can develop guys, and again, we need to have those guys come in that have that kind of hunger to be coached and hunger to learn. And so if we bring guys in, that have that, I think we can develop them into, guys that play at the national level, down the road.
Final question. You just made me think of something that could be intriguing. We've seen baseball coaches or managers be really good and be horrible players. Can you be a bad golfer and be a really good golf coach, or do you really have to have some kind of success from your playing career?
I think it's been,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, just like I mentioned with the golfers, how golfers do it a million different ways. I think it's the same thing in college golf coaching. I know plenty of really good college golf coaches. where I played college golf, Hall of Fame tennis coach there, won 12 national championships in a row at the NAIA and then Division II level, 10 in a row in Division II. Did not play tennis. Was not a college tennis player.
That does make sense, right?
So I think, to answer your question, I think there's any number of ways to do it. Now, personally, I did play in college. I played professionally. I still continue to play because I just love the game.
Right.
I'm kind of obsessed with the game.
You're a nerd. Yeah.
I'm a golf nerd.
Yeah.
I'm a golf nerd.
Yeah.
And those are the guys that I want, in our program. Guys that are just obsessed with it. Going to text me at 10 o'clock at night. Hey, I was
thinking about my grip.
Yeah, exactly.
My thumb's over.
Exactly. So from my standpoint, I was a player. Consider myself to still be a bit of a player, and so I think that when you're helping guys on course and with that development piece, I think maybe I'm wrong here, but there's an element of trust. There, like, okay, this guy, I've seen this guy do this, that, whatever. And so I think that helps from standpoint. But to answer your question, I think there's any number of ways to do it. And that it has been done that way. There's guys that have been fantastic college golf coaches that did not play professionally, did not play in college. So
more fun when you're really good at it, though.
Yeah, I think so. And like I said, I still like to play.
Sure.
Don't play as much as I would like.
Of course, you never are, right?
No, but yeah, that's kind of how we do things here. I that's why Jackson, my assistant, Coach Wedgworth, is a great attribute to our program and a great piece of our programs because he still does play to a high level. And I think when he does play and sometimes beats these guys, like, they
some credibility.
He kind of knows what he's doing.
I got you.
So.
Well, congratulations on a fantastic leap in year 2, which is what you want if you have to blueprint it, right? So, and we look forward to more success.
Yeah.
As we go.
Thank you.
Charlie,
Appreciate the time.
Thanks for making out. Yeah.
Thank you.
Charlie Hoyle, UAB men's golf coach. We'll take a break, come back with more of the Inferno Pod. Hang on. Welcome back to the Inferno Pod. Scott Griffin here. Time for This Week in Blazer Nation, brought to you by Children's of Alabama. Now, we don't have a big schedule because we're getting at the end of all the competition, right? But we do want to start this segment with a big shout out for UAB athletics in general, overall, however you want to term that, because they had their greatest academic success in the history of all the programs. So hats off to Mark Ingram, all the coaches, all the students who have to do all these honors. I think men's and women's tennis led the way academically, but obviously you're not going to reach those kind of numbers and that kind of all-time success without everybody contributing. So congratulations to the entire UAB athletic department for achieving such an incredible honor that we lose sight of, right, these days with NIL and different things, that the real reason is to balance athletics with academics. So they did a great job of that. So the only thing on the schedule as you take a look is baseball. And these guys have a really good chance under Casey Dunn, right? They finished in the top 3 or 4 of the tournament. So they are at Clearwater, Florida for men's baseball. And that'll begin Wednesday and go through the weekend. Hopefully the Blazers are playing throughout the weekend. They certainly have a very good shot at that. They've stubbed their toe a couple of times at the end of the year, but they still can hit with anybody in America, in my opinion. So you never know what's going to happen. That's why they play it. So men's baseball to wrap up the athletic year for the Blazers, again, Wednesday through the end of the week. And we wish Casey Dunn, his coaching staff, and all the players good luck for the American Conference Tournament in Clearwater, Florida. All right, that'll do it for this week's edition of the Inferno Pod. We appreciate you watching. Congratulations to Charlie Hoyle and Erik Olin again for their success with the men's golf team. We'll take another break for about a week or so, and we'll see you next time here on the Inferno Pod. Thanks for watching.